NBA Today on ESPN. Now, there are 4 people on the panel, but the 2 male voices that you hear are NBA players Austin Rivers and CJ McCollum. And they get into a conversation about Paul George, and listen to where it goes when Rivers puts McCollum on the spot and asks him about Paul George.
Can I ask you something? If it's winning, if it's about winning, it would be where? Paul George wakes up today and goes, I'm making this decision, not lifestyle, not money. I just want to win next year. I want to win a ring.
Go, CJ, and then I'll give you my thought.
To the Bay.
Oh, really? I was going to say Philadelphia.
Interesting. I was going to say Philadelphia, too. That's really fascinating because I do think when you...
But he's like, I'm in the West, so no, that's not going to...
First of all,
the West is so hard.
The West is hard, but could you imagine him, Steph, Dre together?
You like that better than Maxey, him, and Joel?
Well, the health. We talk about health. We talk about the importance of availability.
Okay, so wait, now Agwumake was there. Who was the other one? Was that, I don't know.
Monica McNutt?
Maybe. No, I don't think
Malika
it was.
Andrews?
I think it was Malika. Okay, so there's the conversation where Rivers, who, by the way, if I'm just reading his face, he did not love CJ's answer. I think he thought he was going to say something else. I sort of felt like he was trying to get him to say, stay with the Clippers. If it's just about winning, where do you go? And CJ says, the Bay. The Bay. Put those guys all together. Now, look, it's a fair response to say, when the hell in the NBA do you win when your entire core is 35 years old? When does that happen? You're right. It's very, very rare. But I'm intrigued when people who are literally on playoff teams in the West are saying, hey, that mixture would be very, very difficult to deal with. It's an interesting comment.
Yeah, interesting, too, when they both said, oh, I thought you would have said Philadelphia. And then the comeback is, well, injury. I mean, the injuries, right? Joel Embiid. They talked about Joel and Tyrese and Paul versus Paul, Steph, and Draymond. No mention of Klay in all of this. So the assumption is that Klay Thompson's not a part of that Warrior team, that Paul George would be joining. But it's interesting that they were quick to point out injury in Philadelphia. And yes, Joel Embiid's had injury issues, but you would have Paul George at 35 joining a 37-year-old Steph and a 35-year-old Draymond who's had injury and availability issues of his own, yet he was quick to say Golden State. That, to me, was an interesting part of it as well.
It's interesting, and look, I get it. There's no question. I guess I can't question this. The idea of, and I know, is Doc Pandia today? Is Pandia coming on here in 20 minutes? We could actually ask him about this. What is the likelihood rise of injury when your core is in their 30s as opposed to their 20s? I think all of us would agree it's likelier. I don't know how much it goes up. I also know that if you're running a sports team, I don't know if in the offseason you can factor injury into what you're doing. I don't even know how you do that. You can say, hey, I don't want the whole team to be in their 30s, but if you're the Warriors, you're going to have a good, healthy number of core pieces well into their 30s. That's just reality. So does that mean you need to plan for injury? You need to act like it's already happened? I don't think you can do that. And sometimes your 23-year-old rookie quarterback has his arm fall off in the middle of a big game. So, anyone can get hurt. Yes, the likelihood, I imagine, goes up. I just don't know if you can construct your team based on fear of injury.
You can't, and I think you have to look at what you have as a roster anyway, and you're going to have to double down on age anyway, because what we've seen from this Warrior team is that they lean toward veterans. Whether or not Steve Kerr hates the young people or not, that's not a debate for me. I don't think that he doesn't want to play young players, but I do think when it comes down to it, they want to lean on veterans. And if you look at next year's team, you're going to have Steph. He's going to turn 37, and you've got Draymond Green, who's going to turn 35, and GP2 is in his 30s, and all the rest of it. And Andrew Wiggins is going to be coming up on being 30. He'll be 30 in February. So all your guys that you have, and I'm not even counting Klay Thompson in because I think that he'll be gone. Kevon Looney's going to be 29 in February, and that's an old 29.
Yes, it is.
He's a guy who's been hurt. So no matter what you have with the Golden State Warriors, you're an older team, and you've got guys who've had a number of injuries throughout their career. So no, you can't plan on it, But when you have a core of guys in their mid-30s, you do need to expect you're going to have some injuries.
Let's also play with this. We started the show today talking about the future. 888-957-9570 is the number. You can certainly weigh in on this. I take issue today with how many people I'm hearing worry about the future. You can't give up on the future. And I'd argue that, this is different if we're talking about the future being like tomorrow or, July 1st. These things are in the future. But the future that people are worried about seems to be 2 years from now, 3 years from now. I'd argue whatever you think you know about 2 or 3 years from now, you don't. I don't know what the percentage chance is that what you're worried about happening actually happens, or what you think definitely is going to happen does or doesn't happen. It feels like a very low percentage of things that you consider today. And I go, I'm pretty sure that in 2027, X is going to still be true. I got no idea. So when those of you who are worried about the Warriors mortgaging or messing up their future, when you say that, what is it you're actually scared of? And what is it you think is part of their future if they were to go status quo? So we can take calls on that, 888-957-9570, but I think relevant to the conversation is some of the stuff that Mike Dunleavy had to say yesterday in front of a microphone, especially with regard to his younger players. So here's one. He was asked if a trade is the best way to improve the Warriors right now. Listen to where the answer goes.
I'm of the belief internal development is. I'm a big player development guy. I think our younger players have a really big chance to grow and get better. Pods, JK, Trace, Moses, and then even our guys we've had here for a while can get better. I think that's got to be the main thing. And then from there, you look to see what else is out there and can you make a move or a couple moves or do some stuff that enhances your team. But if that's what's like the one thing we're hinging everything on, it's so hard to make a trade now in the NBA. I think we got a lot of teams that are really smart. They know what they're doing. To make a good quality trade that benefits both sides, which is what everybody's looking for, is tough. And so we'll explore that stuff. A lot of conversations going on, but I don't want to get ahead of it and just say there's just going to be some big move that we're going to do and all that. Could be if it was there, great, but it's not something that must happen.
Okay, so trades are hard. We love our young guys.
Right.
We expect to develop internally our young players.
Monty Poole yesterday with a funny answer on our show about debunking the idea of trades being hard, and he rattled off about 7 or 8 trades that have been made that make it seem like trades aren't that hard.
Well, there are trades. They may be hard, but they're coming. They're going to happen.
Right.
There's going to be a bunch of them in the next 3 weeks.
Between Monday and the following Monday when we have our summit, how many trades do you think will be made around the association?
Double digits.
I was going to put the over under at 8.5.
I'll take
you're going over on 8.5.
Yeah,
and I think you're right because trades aren't as hard as you think, especially when you've been working on them throughout the month of June. And I bet the Warriors have, and I bet the other 29 teams have as well.
Tim Kawakami grabbed